Well, it was very, very difficult because they had talked about putting tanks on the beaches. Rommel wanted to put tanks on the beaches, and Hitler wouldn't allow it, or we didn't know that. But as far as we were told, that's why we were picked, we think. But we were the only AAA gun battalion that was picked to go land on D-Day for Utah Beach because we could cover for tanks, and we could cover for planes, and we could cover for artillery. So of all the outfits that tried out or that trained for it, our outfit was picked because of the experience we went through and how good we did during our training. And we were picked as the only gun battalion to go in on Utah Beach. So it was very worrisome. It was very, we were kids. So, you can imagine what the hell was going through our heads. We talked about going through a long life, and here it could be shortened very, very fast because of that situation. Nervousness. That's all we could talk about is nervousness and not knowing, not knowing what could be and what. It's like when I go to the schools and lecture, and the kids ask me about that, it's like walking into a dark room knowing somebody's in there with a gun and you're going in to try to get them. So basically, that's the only feeling that I could say to you. It was just nervousness. Believe me, there was no excitement about it. There was no enthusiasm about going in at that time. You have to understand that Utah Beach was very well fortified. Now, we were told basically that it was 5 miles long, roughly, the beachfront. They were very, very well armed. There was all kinds of wire entanglements on the beaches. There were all kind of posts on the beaches. There were all kind of machine guns. Now, interesting enough, they had bunkers on the beach with a 208 millimeter gun for anti-coastal situation that we knew about, or they thought that we knew about it, basically. And it was very, very difficult, very difficult. Now, we went in without our guns because we went in with the engineers and the infantry and everything else. I went in basically to prepare the field or to find the field that we could set our guns up. You have to understand that when we go into a big field, it was my job to designate which gun would go where because we were in total square 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we had our radar in the middle and everything else to go with it. Kind of nerve-wracking, totally. So I went in before the big guns did to try to get, because they gave you a designated spot, but you had to go in and find that spot and then decide where your guns are going to go and how you're going to lay them out and where you're going to put your stuff, and that's it. And then the LSTs, the big LSTs, brought in the big guns to do it because they were pulled by big Caterpillar track units. Everybody was seasick. Everybody was nervous. There was very little to think about other than the fact of not knowing what the future will bring and not knowing if you're going to go out. One point is a very interesting story. We were going in on the LST, and of course the sailors were getting killed going back and forth to the boats just like we were. And we got about 10, 11 feet out from the beach. And the sailor said, okay, I'm going to drop the front. I want you to be ready. And the lieutenant walked over to him at that particular minute, very nicely, not mad, but took out his gun. He said, listen, son, either you take this thing in closer so my men don't drown, or you're never going to get back to your boat. So he took us in. If you would have seen the dead Americans coming out, because we were so top heavy at that particular time going in. Don't forget, we had a full pack on our back. We had hand grenades strapped to us. We had ammunition across us. We carried a rifle. The helmet was heavy. If you tripped or fell in any which way, you were so top heavy, you'd go down. You couldn't swim. If somebody wasn't alongside of you to pick you back up, you were dead. Automatically, you were dead because we were all running to get in, and nobody was looking so far, at who the hell was alongside of you. And that was my experience. And thank God we did well. We did well with it. Well, not that long, because we came in and we just had we laid down low and got in on the sand, and we found some places to stay until we could bring the big guns in. Once the big guns came in, then it was different. Then we could land the big guns, get them ready, and start firing around us to the point that we were hitting anything that was firing at us. But if I show you pictures of what we went in through, no, the engineers had gotten in already, and they pretty much cleared the way for us to come in, because we didn't go in on the first wave. We went in on the second and third wave of it. So we were very lucky that way. But there were dead Americans all over the beach, jobs to clean up pick up the bodies or put them on the side or cover it, do anything they could so that we wouldn't. But most of the men were seasick coming in. It was so rough that most of us were seasick and couldn't see straight in front of us. They hit the beaches, they were throwing up and everything else with it. So, but none of my men were wounded or got at all with it. So we're very lucky, very lucky. Well, once the LSTs came in, it didn't take that long, because we had designated spot already, and we had, they picked certain spots. So I was out there getting it ready. The captain was out there. All of the sergeants were out there to get it ready to do. So it didn't take that long. And we could drop those guns after the training. We could take those guns and get them ready for firing in 3 minutes, and get the caterpillars out of the way so we could start firing with it. So that was a wonderful way to do it. The ammunition that we shot was unbelievable with it. I think when we landed, I think the first round, I think we shot down 11 planes. I think that's the number of 11 planes. I have all the numbers, but I don't remember them. But we shot down 11 planes of it. Checking our figures, it was 15 hours after we landed that the battery was first started to unload the big guns from the LSTs. So basically that was it. But we shot down planes. And don't forget, at that particular time, our planes strafing and bombing, and unbelievable amount of planes that were doing it there. The battalion shot down a total of 90 during the war. We are credited with 97 planes that our battalion shot down. 97 planes, plus tanks, plus, if you would know I have the ammunitions listed someplace here, that the amount of rounds that we fired was unbelievable. All I know is that what everybody has to understand is we were pushing the Germans back. So every move that we pushed them back, when we got a march order, basically, if it was 10 miles, I would have to go ahead and get the field ready, and we had me and one of the officers and one of the sergeants had a mine detector, because every place you touched, every place you looked, whether we believed it or not, the Germans had big signs, meinen, Achtung, Achtung, meinen, which means, that it was mined.